Hello, everyone. Welcome to Orange and Brew, the podcast where we married our two favorite pastimes, the Denver Broncos and beer. I am one of your hosts, JT Matthews, at JTMatthews01 on Twitter. And I'm here with the doctor, Nicholas Manning, at DR_ and Manning, the same place, and super producer, editor, John Cronenberg, and co-host, of course, at John K. NFL. How we doing today, boys? It is Thursday. We are live. Doc, how you feeling? We got lots of Broncos news, but just how's life?
Yeah, we got 3 out of 4 out the door, so that's good. Little man started kindergarten today.
Yeah.
The other one starts preschool in like a week, and then it'll be quiet at least for like a couple hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So all wins. The 95 degrees slapback that we're getting right now, not exactly a fan of, but could be worse,
I feel you. John, how you feeling?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited about the football coming up, both for college football and the NFL. It just, for me, it means good times are on the way. It's always good to, have that as an escape, as well as, it brings me joy. So I'm really doing well. And besides that, the family's doing well. I'm sure you guys are feeling a little bit of stress relief with the kids being out of the house, obviously. So huge win for you guys.
Yeah. It's about time, It's we love our children, but also we need breaks. And
can't miss them if they're not gone.
That's right.
And it's a big shock though, right? So both JT and I have 4 kids, and so when that's a lot of noise and action, and then all of a sudden, one day they're just not there. It's shock to the system, but welcome shock to the system.
Yeah.
Until next week when I have all 8.
Oh. Well, hey, JT, what's going on? Where are you going?
I'm going to Florida. My buddy's getting married.
Congrats.
So I'm going to.
It's not going to work out anyway. Just kidding.
I'm gonna go rep. I'm his best man, so I'm gonna go be there for him. Doc's got mine after I had his from an earlier trip, so we've traded. And we're doing all right. CU. I need to ask you about CU, John, because I'm curious.
Let's go.
Are they a top 25 program this year?
No.
Okay.
I just have to be straight up. No, they're not a top 25 program. I think 6 wins is the highest that this team can perform on, when we're looking at this.
Yeah.
And, so I would take a bowl eligibility as the ceiling and the big win. I understand people have their hopes, very high set, but we have to be realistic. This team was 1-11 last year. I mean, we just have to.
Whoa, hold on. CU was 1-11, not this team.
You're correct. This isn't the same.
So look
team.
at that Our Lads depth chart for CU football.
There's no one. The only person there is Wells.
Yeah,
we got Wells essentially as the guy who's still there. You're gonna have Michael Harrison stepping in for tight end with some injuries, so you don't even have your the one other player you don't have in Pasquarello. So I mean, it's very interesting that this is going to be a brand new team for the Buffs, and you are right about that. But I still think it takes a little while to get going.
10 wins.
10 wins. We're going all the way.
I'm
wow. That's
I think they'll be competitive. I predict that they're going to be TCU week 1.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that will translate over the season, but I think that they'll be great. So great in that game. We'll see how it goes. But more importantly, Florida State will knock off LSU again. If you're Chris Jericho.
Again.
So march to the ACC championship on the way.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing what this season looks like for them, because I honestly have no idea. I haven't been
Doc, you're in the house.
It's true. It's true.
Cam throwing the Robert Saleh on an apt week for that since. Oh, no. I was just thinking 49ers, but he's not 49ers anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough. Well, let's talk some Broncos if y'all are ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think let's start with kind of what our headline was for the show, and that is Coach Shanny got robbed. He did not make the Pro Football Hall of Fame class. Got snubbed, and just wanted to get your takes on it. And I'll start with Doc. Obviously, Shanahan's deserving, well loved in Broncos country. Will always be kind of one of those statuesque people that represents the Broncos historically. Was he snubbed? Should he have made it over? I don't remember who actually got selected from the coaching. Do you remember?
I don't. The contributor doesn't jump off the.
It's Buddy Parker.
Yes, there you
Buddy
go.
Parker. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
is he from the Lions organization?
He is coach in the 1950s.
Right.
Passed away, if I recall, in the 1970s.
Well, they should have made him wait another year. He wouldn't have even noticed.
I mean, just saying. I'm pretty perturbed.
Yeah.
Mike Shanahan, not only, right? So 2 Super Bowl championships. Jimmy Johnson.
Just as a head coach. We're not even talking about him as an assistant, though.
A coordinator. Yeah, none of that stuff. So you look at Jimmy Johnson, who has 2 Super Bowl wins, but has 70 career playoff wins, gets in, right? He couldn't win with Dan Marino. So just saying. And then you have a guy like Bill Cowher, who was a good coach for most of his career, 1 Super Bowl win, and he's in. And, the list goes on. And not that those guys aren't deserving, but you look at just resume, and then on top of that, you look at the coaching tree. So you look at McVay and Kyle, and 90% of the offensive innovation, particularly in the run game and the motion, is connected to Mike Shanahan. And you have to credit to the probably the mid 90s 49ers, right? A lot of that progress, looking back, there's probably a lot to do with Mike Shanahan. So sadly, I appreciate the exclusivity, look at that word, of the Hall of Fame, and not everyone gets in, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
I also don't Buddy Parker, his family went through this, right? Pat Boland's family, we got to give people their flowers after they're gone. Mike Shannon's 70, so you don't. He looks good. I'm not saying that anything's around the corner, but why wait too long? The fact that coaches can't be eligible right away, or the 5 years after you retire rule.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice was a Hall of Famer at 34. He should have been in the Hall of Fame and then play 8 more years. So anyway, that's my soapbox. I think Randy Gradishar also not getting the continued love that he should get is pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
He was so successful at his job. People don't believe he was that successful. We didn't keep stats back then.
Yep.
But we know that he tallied this. Well, go look at the accolades, the Pro Bowls, the All Pros, the Defensive Player of the Years, all that stuff. His resume puts him in the category of a player who should be in the Hall of Fame. So those 2 guys specifically, it's pretty tough to not see those 2 get in. And again, I'm hoping that they get in with enough time to really appreciate it with their kids, their grandkids, all that kind of stuff. So I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to be recognized as one of the greatest ever in your profession. What would be really frustrating is knowing that you belong there and not being around when you get put there. So hopefully it gets rectified. So Shanny gets in next year. He should have been in already. This year's a travesty. Next year we march.
Yeah. I think we'll get it sooner than later. I think we'll get it sooner than later. Hopefully he doesn't have to wait too long. But yeah, I mean, it is disappointing. You think of and everyone's deserving. It's not that Buddy Parker wasn't deserving. It's just, there's a time and a place where guys get that recognition, and Shanny should be right around the corner, hopefully. Let's transition. Oh, sorry, John. I almost skipped you completely.
Well, no, I mean, I think I'm one of these people who doesn't get as upset by this because, I understand that the Hall of Fame has these writers and these biases that come with them voting in. I mean, I spoke to someone that was a Hall of Fame writer for for the guys that have passed into the senior committee.
Mhm.
And for example, I just straight up asked him, do you think Rod Smith will ever be a player, have a chance even at the later stages? He says no way. There's no way the Raiders are going to do it. The statistics don't matter. At the end of the day, there's just not enough people on the side. And for me, I feel like that's going to be be that way for a lot of players. So there's that bias that's always there, and I'm just going to believe that because 1 out of 1 Hall of Fame writers I spoke to basically said it's hard for those Broncos guys to get in. So I believe him.
Yeah, it's hard though. I mean, I think if you're talking about franchises that are well respected in the league, I think the Broncos are up there. I don't know that they're at the top, and especially not right now. But I think from a historical standpoint, how they did things for so long under Pat Bowlen, that they at least I don't think they're off of everyone's radar. You know what I mean? So I think that helps. That helps that they've had success. It helps that they've had Super Bowls in legendary players. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure most every team feels like that. You've got those borderline guys that we love in town that were our historical guys for us, but may just be right on the bubble and whether they get in or get out. Yeah, it does get
all very good for a lot of people. That's kind of the idea, and it's kind of unfortunate for some of these guys that they consider them the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. But it's also good to just get your hometown accolades too. Like those matter, they do matter. And like you want to be, and we want those guys to be recognized on a higher level. But I mean, I think that, your hometown recognition, I think, especially for those career guys or guys that did it for a long time in the same place, that matters to them at the end of the day. So may some of them get snubbed. Yeah. But I think that they at least will get, love from the fans and from, the organization on some level.
Right.
But before we move on, just to give some perspective. Okay. So Mike Shanahan is an offensive coordinator or play caller. Steve Young won the AP Offensive Player of the Year and Most Valuable Player. Jerry Rice won AP Offensive Player of the Year. John Elway won the Most Valuable Player Award. Terrell Davis won AP Offensive Player of the Year and Most Valuable Player. Clinton Portis won the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. So did Mike Anderson. And then so did Robert Griffin. So we're
not even getting to the offensive linemen and everything that they. I know Zimmerman was at the end of his career, but we put kind of the cap on for Zimmerman. Yeah. A lot of things went on there that are very interesting. And I just have to get to this real quickly, just because I didn't know this. Maybe Yordy's bringing in some fresh information, but Broncos will wear the snowcat helmets versus the Jets and the Patriots. What are your thoughts about against the Jets with Hackett? I don't know. Sounds like Cam's got them going with a 50-point burger incoming. What are your thoughts, guys?
It feels like there's this weird pushing of some sort of rivalry that isn't really a thing. But I like it. I mean, I'm here for it. It's fun. Yeah. It feels like a fake rivalry, but it also feels like, someone is intentionally making these choices. And I think, not all publicity is good publicity, even if it is sometimes poking the bear. So I think it's fun. I think it's
fun. That's all I think it is. It's fun. By the time we get, again, I think we've moved past the coaches talking about each other, and we're just now having some fun. And now the Jets, we just want to beat because they're going to be fun. They have Aaron Rodgers, all those different things. Like, who doesn't want to beat the Jets?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I do. I've never really liked the Jets. Never. Maybe the only time that they were enjoyable was Rex Ryan's. Let's go get a GD snack. That was the best part. Even then, though, they turned pretty quick to it's just never really felt like they earned anything. They won the Super Bowl one. All right. Nice job. Yeah. You've had more number one picks, top 5 picks than any team in the NFL history. Yeah, probably. I'm gonna research that.
For me, I just remember when the Broncos faced the Jets, I think in 1997 or 98 for the going into the Super Bowl. Their fans kept making fun of us, saying, "Oh, we go to bed so early, and how their city's so great, and they stay up all the time." And I just got behind the just end the season mantra of the Jets and that kind of stuff. So I've always been, can't like them. No.
Yeah. I'm all about the snow cap helmets, though.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how they lay out, what uniform they pull together, if it's going to be the color rush. So I'm all about it. I like those helmets, and hopefully they keep them for a bit. So good. I will be at the Jets game. I will likely, potentially be at the Patriots game. So I'll be.
You'll be in perfect.
I'll be there for the 50 burger.
The 50. The predicted 50 burger. He does say he was hacked. So
Broncos will not wear bucket hats on the sideline.
This team again seems like a big.
I will wear my Broncos bucket hat in the stands because it's great for all-purpose coverage for your neck, ears, and your face.
There you go.
And your head with your ball.
That's true. Which apparently, I think I went on to this. Eagles will dive bomb you with turtles to crack on a rock your ball, thinking that it's a rock. So be careful, other ball gentlemen. Wear your caps, hats. It's hard because mine's shiny and nice, but you open yourself up for eagle attack.
Yeah, safety is imperative. Be safe out there, our ball brethren. Let's talk a little bit about Broncos offensive line. This is something we wanted to get into a little bit. How are we feeling? Obviously, there's some concern, some injuries going on. Garrett Bowles has looked a little rough in the preseason game. Has looked a little bit rough all camp. People are calling for his head a little bit. What is our general? Let's take the temperature on the offensive line in that room right now. John, why don't you kick us off as our resident offensive line lover?
I'll first go here with what Johnny's saying. I got to get your all's opinion. Does Big Bad Bowles deserve maybe just a little more patient than most of Broncos country is affording him on his return to the field? I believe so. I think it takes time. I think it's one of those things where, again, I keep saying this mantra, 5 as 1. It takes time to also, learn, hey, what Ben Powers is going to do. He has to get comfortable with that. He was used to Reisner kind of knowing what he was going to do and assisting him. So they had that relationship and rapport built. So for me, it takes time for these guys to develop that rapport and being able to know when to hand each other, pass off a blocker, when to take on a blocker, to know different kind of stunts are happening. I think it takes time. So it's one of those things for me personally. I think it's going to take a couple weeks. I think for every offensive line, it's going to take until week 4 until you actually start getting into a groove, because you can't go at 100%. Yeah. These guys, they're going way too, for them, they're going too slow, in my opinion. They're going at 80% at most speeds when they're in practice, if they're really to go hard. And it just doesn't bode well for the actual game simulation. So when game time happens, it's much easier for the defense to become prepared, especially in the first preseason game. So for me, I still think it's a work in progress, and all that matters is that you keep up for week 1. Be as prepared as possible. So I do think that they have you got to afford them some time here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, but there is also pressure. I think Cam had a comment. Yeah, he's one of these players that's under a lot of pressure to perform in 2023. I completely agree with that. And he may be one of those guys that if he doesn't perform in the first 4 weeks, you may see that. I mean, people will start talking about making a change. Who that will be, I guess time will tell. We've got some options potentially, but I don't know that there's a good feel. We have a good option that we feel really good about plugging in at that left tackle. So I think, unless you're willing to make a trade or acquire someone that you like, then I just, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
This is where you're at.
To see that. Yeah, that's it. You have the guys that you got right now, and you got to hope that they can live up to the pressure. Bowles is a guy that's been somewhat inconsistent his whole career. I think we will need some time to kind of see how this unit gels. The injuries and stuff are not going to help. This is going to take some time for these guys to get comfortable playing next to each other. I'm hoping at the very least that they can run the ball. It seems like they did that well, or at least, somewhat decently during the preseason game. That doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. I think we've got some good personnel in the run game. It's going to be more about pass protection, which obviously is important. But, if we're going to be able to do something, and if we can establish that run, then maybe that'll take some pressure off of them in pass rushing situations. Doc?
I was wondering, one, remember, they didn't scheme week 1.
Yep.
Here's the pump the brakes a little bit, right? So this is just, if you've been to a practice, right, this is what we're running regardless of the look. We need to run our stuff, know, what our markers are, our landmarks, what's our footwork, etc. Right. So that's a lot of what week 1 was. Sean Payton had talked about, there are plays that I wouldn't have called against this defense that we ran. So remembering that part, there also was very little to zero chipping. So there was not a lot of effort from Sean Payton to help out his offensive line. There wasn't a lot of slide. There was essentially mano a mano, get some work in. So the good part about that is Sean Payton is really good at scheming ways to be able to help support his offensive line. They also intentionally, really worked on the pass game. That won't be the split, that they have when it comes to the regular season. It will be a lot more of a 50-50 mix. So there's that. I am a little worried because it's been all training camp, really, where Jonathan Cooper, who is a good player, has been great. Nick Bonito has been fantastic, and you hope that all of those things are true. But then when you add it with getting beat with guys on Arizona's roster that Alabama wouldn't want.
Right.
But there's some concern. I think, like John said, I think that they'll continue to gel, getting McGlinchey back, more snaps, more opportunities to gel. I think that will be better. Again, the one really bright spot, we talked about it on Monday, Lloyd Cushenberry. So I thought he was the best offensive lineman on the field that day. Chatted with Mark Cooper, former offensive lineman for the Broncos. He felt the same. So I think that there's a really good takeaway there. That's a big one. But in my opinion, the need isn't Garrett Bowles has to play better. I think he'll play better. They just need him to be okay. They don't need him to be great. Ben Powers was brought over to be that anchor, to be one of the highest paid left guards in the NFL. And he pooped to the bed. And you just can't have that. You can't have that from a guy who you expect to be pushing for Pro Bowl nods and all that kind of stuff. So that to me is going to be one of the biggest needs for this group. And hopefully you see that. There's going to be a really big test against the 49ers, who have a top flight defensive line, even minus Nick Bosa. So let's go on Saturday and see if we can rectify some of these issues. Yeah. The question I have for everyone, so this group, everyone that's following along, if the Broncos have a really good offensive showing on Saturday, how much does that pendulum swing to like, can't wait, super excited, like nice, because of the talent that they're going against versus the, oh my gosh, like, I'm looking up free agents for left tackle. Jason Peters is like the only one. That dude's 41. It's like him and Eric Fisher. Not great. Not great. Slim pickings out there. Maybe Taylor Lewan and his no kneecaps will be available. But again, if you get rid of Bowles, you got to have someone. You got to have someone ready to go, and there isn't really on this roster. So the other point, the pendulum swing. So if this offense looks good, right, they're on the same page. Minimum reduction in pressure, which was outstandingly bad last week. Does that pendulum flip and we're all super excited and we feel real confident? Or is there still some hesitation, right? Like NFL is week to week. And all of a sudden, if they come out and they show great, They hang up a couple touchdowns on San Francisco. Do we feel really good? That's not rhetorical.
For me personally, I think that just leaves me in a state of, hey, I'm still going to wait and see. Again, I still think it takes a long time for these lines to gel. It'd be great to see this team come together, do well for a quarter or however long it is. But at the end of the day, it's not what we're going to be running fully, and it's not going to be what San Francisco is going to be running fully. And it's one of those things where I'm going to be very interested in the practice reps. I believe they're having joint practice as well. That's next week. So
next week.
Wish it was kind of this week though. But again, it's one of those things where for me, I still understand that a line takes a long time to gel, and I'm not expecting this to be a finished product till the season. I mean, into the season, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll feel encouraged. I don't know that I'll be bought in, though. You know what I mean? I just think it would, like John said, it'll take time. If you're doing it against the Niners and they're starting some of their starters, I'll feel pretty good about that. But preseason's preseason. It's generally for your depth guys. It's not necessarily always for your starters. Now we've got a new scheme, so I think that's not completely true. And I do think preseason is important for the starters as well, but I don't put a lot of stock in it. I'm more interested to see that they're doing things the right way. They're going through the process. They're practicing the things that they need to practice for the regular season games. Those are the things I'm more interested in seeing. Now, obviously, we want them to be competitive. Even in preseason games, we want them to win. I think at this point we'll take a win in whether it's exhibition or not. But and like I said, I'll be encouraged, but I'm not gonna go crazy. The pendulum's not gonna swing huge, but I think it'll swing a little bit. It would be, I would be lying if I wouldn't say I would be more excited going into, the third week of preseason and then the regular season if they put it together at least one good showing, where they put it out some significant amount of plays with the starters.
Yeah, I'll feel really good about it. I really will, because I think for as much as Kyle will bring in a vanilla look, somewhat, he wants to win when he comes here. So I don't think he's gonna lay down. I think he's gonna encourage his guys to play. So if this offensive line can look improved against a much better, top defensive line, if not top three, top five even without Bosa, I think they're just a really good unit, great linebackers. I think it's a front seven that is going to be really challenging, and if they can come out and produce and sustain drives, even if they're not all for points, but really look cohesive, like you said, John, I'll feel really good about it because Vegas defensive line is terrible outside of Max Crosby, but that Washington game that's week 2 has a really
Jonathan Allen. Let's just keep going. We're looking at Cam Young being their weak link right now.
Chase Young,
excuse me.
Yeah, he's so bad. I forget his name. Just kidding. Not really. But there's going to be opportunities like that. You look at the Jets, you look at a lot of those showings. This offensive line has to get it together. I agree too, John, though. I think that this group won't really come together probably until week 4. Week 5, I think when you get that many snaps, you're able to look at film, address your communication, all that kind of stuff. But
it's same thing for every team in the NFL. Same thing for the college. That's how it works, because the offensive line, you have to get so nitty gritty in it there together. It's hard to fake simulate those kind of snaps, because otherwise you're going after your guys and they can get hurt very easily, and you can get hurt very easily with a rolled ankle, just something rolling on you. So that's why they have to protect themselves essentially in practice.
Yep. I agree. I think there's a lot to remain to be seen in preseason. I think we'll have a stronger feeling for what this team might look like coming into game 1. We'll talk a little bit about preseason on the other side, but I think it's time to drink, and I'm excited for this one. So let's jump into beer time. I'm never not excited about Frank the Tank bringing in beer time. It's
Why don't
always
we welcome in our guest, the person who is providing our beers for us? We got our man Raul, aka Orange_Crush512. You see him all the time in the comments. He's been, for me, a really big supporter. We go back to like talking Glasgow, and that's kind of how we met, is through Glasgow, and just kind of on that. So welcome, Raul. Thank you for coming. And why don't we talk first a little bit about some of these beers that we got from Texas that you were able to help us find in some stores in Colorado?
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me on and for taking some of my suggestions. So this here is Revolver Brewing Blood and Honey, right? And it's not the Blood and Honey Winnie the Pooh horror movie, right? That came out last year. So, when I saw that, I was like, man, did they get that from Texas Revolver? But
funny.
I mean, it makes sense for Winnie the Pooh. But yeah, so just a little bit of background. This Revolver Brewing started out in 2012, same year I actually moved down to Texas. I found it a couple years after, when I was, just kind of browsing my local grocery store. It's a 7% ABV. They're located outside of Dallas, Texas, in Granbury, Texas, so about 2.5 hours north of me. And so this one here is a blood orange with Texas honey and spices. So one thing I will let y'all know is they changed the label on this. It used to be a darker label and a darker bottle, and it used to be unfiltered, right? So when you would look at the bottle, you would see like a little bit of the, I'm assuming the spices, orange peel. So they changed this on me. So I have not had this, new labeled one, right? But still my personal Texas favorite.
And real quick, I just want to get in here with our boy Yordi. He knows what's up. Orange Crush is an OG.
How's it going,
Yes. Yeah, what's up, Yordi? You know what's up too. With we've all kind of met through Glasgow, and it's been a great time. So you guys ready to pop this bad boy open? Let's pap it open.
Yeah,
too.
let's do it.
Let's get a pap there. Oh, I don't know why.
All right, pop.
One.
I had to get the can opener. Here's my bottle opener. How uncool is that?
I did too. All right. I have to admit,
you just use what you got sometimes.
this smells. I smell the orange first.
Yeah, there's some orange. There's definitely some orange
Blood.
into there. Oh, you smell that blood?
Yeah.
You smell the blood. It's
good
very
blood.
irony, very rich in that. All right, you guys ready to go?
Yeah, cheers, boys.
Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
bro.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And thank you. That's interesting. I wonder what the spices are.
Yeah, I'm trying to look in there to see if there's those spices like you were saying.
It just says blend of spices, right? So just reading it off of their website, it says an unfiltered deep golden ale brewed with malted 2-row barley and wheat, finished with orange, blood orange peel, Texas honey, and a blend of spices.
Now, I always have this question. I know it's silly, but what's the difference between a blood orange and an orange? I'm sorry.
The color? I don't know. I don't know.
The color. Okay, well, we'll stick with that. I thought there was some big difference.
I
mean, the color, the taste, not as sweet, in my opinion, right?
Okay.
From what I've had. Yeah. So, one thing
I should also tell you all, Raul is going to be opening probably a beer and restaurant place with Schlottman probably in Texas.
Yeah.
That's at least my theory. They're going to do that. So
the working theory.
I mean, I think, and they're going to have some country, music being played by, you know what I'm talking about, Raul. We already had it figured out.
Barbecue and brews.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
That sounds
so
good.
Is it for you guys, for you, Nick, is this something you would typically drink?
Is it something I would typically drink? No. Is it something that I would drink though? Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was an interesting blend, and they pulled it off. So I'm not sure what the old label and the kind of darker, non-filtered taste like, but this,
I feel like I can still, at least I can see, on the bottom when I'm looking, I can see kind of some kind of spices. I do wonder what is in there.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask y'all, this is a little bit of a stronger, right? 7% versus the 4.5. So I mean, I personally, the reason why I like this is that it doesn't taste as bitter as some other 7s, you know what I mean, that I've had. What about y'all? I mean, what's y'all's opinion about this? Is it, is it strong like that Tarnations one, right, John?
Yeah,
I told you to
for
give,
me,
right? That one
this is
about
definitely
8.
doesn't have that bitter notes that the other one did, where I was just like, woo. Yeah, I mean, you got me. You're burning off some hairs when I sniffed it. This one, I didn't have that same kind of intense feel where I've had those 7% higher end beers where it's like that got me.
Yeah, no, I think it's really balanced. It's good. It doesn't it doesn't have that like heavy mouthfeel or that bitter mouthfeel. It's got a good blend of like sweetness and whatever the spices are. I still want to know. I feel like there's maybe like some clove in there or something. I can't put my finger on it.
You even know spices.
But there's something on it. Something in there that's familiar. Like almost like baking spices, like of some sort,
This would probably be good, very good for like if you're again cooking something, add this beer in. This would be a good one.
It almost reminds me of, yeah, totally. It almost reminds me of like some similar profile as like a mulled wine. Have you ever had a mulled wine?
No, it doesn't sound too appetizing.
Yeah,
it's MULLEED.
Oh, okay. It's not MOLD. I'm like mulled wine.
No,
delicious.
you make it in your crock pot basically, and it's you drink it warm, and it's like a holiday drink, but it's got similar flavor profiles there, and it's actually really good. So I like this one a lot. I think it's definitely sweeter than that, a little more tart too, but I think it's a really good product. And I'm glad you brought it to us because I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
So
yeah, well, I mean, I had to be very, I kind of let John know. I was like, man, I'd love for you guys to try some Texas, beer. So I kind of, told him which ones, that I've tried throughout the years, right? My, 10, 11 years living here. So I was like, there's a couple of them. So, this one, like I said, one of my personal favorites. And like I said before, with brisket, you know what I mean? With some ribs or whatever. I mean, it pairs great with some smoked meat. So
totally. I can see that.
So Crush, while we have you here, Raul, let's talk about a little bit of Broncos. What has you? How's your excitement level feeling right now? Let me ask you this: how's your feeling of the offensive line as well, real quick?
Well, real quick. I mean, I'm always one of those guys that whatever whoever we have at quarterback, at coach, whatever. I'm always I'm always saying we're 17-0 until we're not, right? And then once if we happen to lose that first game, okay, we're 16-1, right? So I'm always counting backwards. So I'm always, trying to be optimistic, right, and just be supportive of whatever it is. I'll start off with the O-line. I mean, definitely concerning, right, that against some second, third string guys, Russ was under lots of pressure, right? So that was concerning. I mean, I'm still hoping that it takes some time because in reality, right, Bowles is coming back from injury. Powers is a new guy. So, really that sort of center, and guard and left tackle, I mean, they're still trying to kind of gel with each other, right? So Cush and Miners have at least, played, a few handful of games together. So they have some familiarity there. And then, of course, we haven't seen McGlinchey yet. So, obviously I'm still hopeful, but definitely, seeing him under pressure and not seeing too much of a, push at times in the run game is a little concerning. But of course, it's still the preseason. Let's see what happens on Saturday. Let's see how week 3, and going into the regular season, how they gel. Overall, with the team, same thing, right? I think it's going to take some time. I'm not going to always say, I'm not going to be, a fool and say, oh, it's where it should be at now. Of course, there's always, growing pains, every week to week, right? So, I mean, but I think that we are, we're in a better spot this time than we were last year. I just feel like, we have just a better understanding of what needs to be done. I mean, Hackett, he did his thing, which he thought was, going to work out. Unfortunately, it didn't. But I just feel that with, Sean Payton, we just have he knows what's worked, and he's going to make sure that the team, follows that, and make sure that, that they're set up for success. And if not, then he's not going to be one to make some changes at whatever position that is. I mean, I just think that, just put the 11 best people out there on the field. I mean, I got some preferences of people that have been, are here, been traded in the past, but at the end of the day, give me the best 11 on the field.
Great. Yeah. I'm in complete agreement. And is there anything else, though, that is on your mind when it comes to the Broncos in terms of what you saw maybe preseason week 1 or that you're looking forward to in this San Francisco game to kind of see any side of the ball? Kickers too.
One thing that was, really encouraging, right, was just how quickly the guys got to the line and how much time. I kept a keen eye on how much time was left on the play clock, right? Like the guys weren't, just, running in out of huddles, barely getting to the line with 5 seconds left, right? Like they were getting to the line on average, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, right? Like they had plenty of time to check the line, make different calls. So I was very encouraged by that. I want to kind of continue seeing that, right? Some of the penalties, I mean, those back-to-back, false starts, right, that we had, or was it false start in the hole? I can't remember, right? But those back-to-back penalties that, led us to that blocked field goal, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that was a little concerning, right? But still, things to work on, correctable things and whatnot. But like I said, I want to see them continue getting, being, coached well mentally. Like I said, getting to the line, with enough time. And of course, I mean, special teams, let's see what, Brett Meyer does, right? I mean, he's a lone kicker now. Maybe he was, I don't know, maybe influenced by having a, competition. Who knows, right? Let's just see what that looks like. And Riley Dixon, that first punt was, 35 yards, I believe. So that wasn't too encouraging. But, after that, he seemed fine. But just our special teams, right, in all three phases, in all phases, right? The coverage, the kicking, and the returns. I want to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Raul. We're going to kind of head back into our talk on the 53-man roster on the second half. Is there any surprise, guys, that you have, though, going into the 53-man roster as we before we get you going?
Surprise, guys? I mean,
maybe a surprise cut then, too. You can go either way.
Yeah, no, I think surprise, guys. I just don't think our kicker's on this team yet. I mean, I just that's just going to be mine, right? I just don't think that our kicker is on this team yet. And in terms of, so I don't know if that's too much of a surprise cut, but other than that, I just don't think that we're too deep in, to cut anybody, right? Like, I know that Bowles has been struggling, but I don't see him being, you know what I mean? Yeah, we're not there. So yeah, that's going to be my prediction, is that I don't think our kicker is here yet.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We'll have you on as many times as you want. And again, appreciate you sending some of these beers. We have a few more. I think we have 2 more that we're going to be doing in the next couple shows. So thank you so much for coming on. And just keep in contact with us. We love you, man.
All right. I appreciate you guys. And I'm glad you enjoy the beers, and have a great rest of your show.
Will do.
Appreciate you, man.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
All right, we're back to our program. Ready to break down the 53-man roster?
I am. Question is,
so let's get to it. I know I went a little long. I'm a little long-winded at times, but it's okay. We kicked JT out.
I did. He was frozen. We're going to get started
frozen
without him, and then
we
can jump back in when his stuff's working. So, I agree, Cam. Let's. Do you want to throw up the depth chart? Let's get cracking on this bad boy.
Okay, let me. Actually, my depth chart went away. Shoot. Why don't you start talking about the quarterbacks and who do you think will be on this team? Will it be 3 or how many guys?
Yeah, I think it'll be 3. I think Sean Payton over the last several years has kept 3. I wouldn't keep 3.
No.
I'm a fan of the extra roster spot and then shuttling the guy up from the practice squad. However, I did cut JT, just saying. But I think that the Broncos will keep 3. I think DiNucci has shown enough, especially in practice and team periods, and then on Saturday to warrant staying on. So I think that they will keep 3.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think they do keep 3. I would be the same kind of mindset where, hey, let's have one guy be a practice squad. We call him up. Maybe you this is where I would have had multiple quarterbacks in training camp, therefore, in order for them to each learn the system, be prepared. And that way, when you can't call them up after they've reached their limit, you call up the next guy, those kind of things. So I do agree. I
Right.
think they keep 3, but man, would I love that extra roster spot, just like you were saying. That seems like the smart idea. I'm not too worried about anything else, teams taking them, those kind of things. And wow,
Yeah.
Richie, hot take. We cut Stidham. Too spicy for me. I don't think that's going to happen. What about you?
I don't think it will happen. I think it should.
Oh, it should. Okay.
I
think Stidham is who he is, like that Winston mold to me. That's what I keep seeing him as. Is like he sees him as his new Winston, even though that's they're not really apple to apple.
I mean,
anymore.
Winston at least was a good-ish player. The problem is dead money. So if they cut him, they're going to eat a lot because of guarantees. So I think he'll be on the roster. I think he is a Jag, and so I think we're stuck with him for another year.
Perfect. Let's add this kind of the rest of this roster in here so we know what we're talking about. Why don't you move? What position do you want to move on to next?
Well, let's go to running backs. So I think that they will keep too far. I think that they'll keep 3.
Okay.
But
who are those 3?
If it were me, I think McLaughlin has shown tremendous ability to be able to not only run but catch the ball at the backfield. So they might be trying to hold him back, to sneak him on the practice squad, which is very fair. I think Tyler Beatty, is too. Didn't run through a lot of tackles. Saw that on Saturday. So I think he's the guy that you probably could have on practice squad.
Yeah.
I think Tony Jones Jr. is definitely a Jag. I think Dwayne Washington, who has played, I think he's had a more successful career, but that doesn't say a lot. So I think it'll be Javonte. I think it'll be Samaje, and then I think it'll be McLaughlin, and then I think Tyler Beatty will go on to the practice squad. Maybe a guy like Dwayne Washington too, since you can keep vets, someone that can come up and play special teams if you need them to, but not tied to the hard part about that is unless McLaughlin is returning, he probably won't. You're not getting a lot out of that room in terms of special teams contribution. Just gotta kind of think about that and keep that in mind. But if it were me, that would be the 3 I'd keep.
Yeah, I have to admit it. I think that they're going to probably do something very similar. Like you're saying, Williams, P. Ryan, McLaughlin. Those are the guys I see that are going to make this roster for sure. I do like what Tyler Beatty has been able to do. But like you said, can you store him on the practice squad? More than likely, yes, you can, and you can call him up when needed. And then the same thing that you're talking about with Washington, he can provide more for the special teams, I feel like, as well. There was a reason why they brought him on the roster this late. And I think that they're trying to shore up that special team. So I think he could be someone that you see called up. So I agree 100% with you. And we're still on the same page for these guys so far.
All right. Well, so right now we got 6. I didn't add Michael Burton. I should. I do think that they will carry a fullback.
I think so as well. Even though we haven't seen much of him. I still think that that's going to be him as well. So I agree with Cam. There's going to be 4 backs, but I'm considering the fullback. So
yeah. I think that he will be there. Guy is a human sledgehammer and plays special teams. So. Not too shabby. I think as we're just looking at it, they will carry 3 specialists. They will carry a long snapper.
Yes.
They will carry Riley Dixon as the punter. And I agree with said before comments. I don't think the kicker is on the roster. We'll see. Maybe good old Brett will pull it together, but we'll see. I don't have a lot of faith in it. And then why they brought in? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, is Jack Landher from UCLA? Is he basically taking that spot due to injury? It sounds like it's his. Yeah,
I think there's just some competition there.
Okay.
Get another look, and then you have you have the number of a guy that you feel comfortable with. Hopefully, anything were to happen, you can bring him in. You can put him on practice squad, any of that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
I think Fabroni is still the leader in the clubhouse there, and I'd be surprised if they made a move. But Sean Payton is a Maverick, so we'll see. So with those three, we are at 10. We're at 10 on our rosters. We got 43 spots to work with. I think our move into – let's go to the offensive line first. So we obviously got our 5. I don't think that they're going to cut Garrett Bowles. Obviously, Ben Powers will be here for a while. Cushenberry will also, and then as will Miners and McGlinchey. So we have those 5. So now we look at offensive linemen. Right. So most of the players didn't give great vibes on Saturday. So right. I'm going to turn it to you. I'm going to give you a
little bit of free range here.
Yeah.
And we got JT coming back in here as we get him going. Yeah, I agree. Obviously, those 5 are in. I think Cam Fleming has made this team. I think for me personally, Isaiah Prince, I do think has made this team.
Okay.
It's just from what I've seen. He seems to be running with the number 2s much higher. I would give it to him at this point. It seems like, and it could be between him and Alex, honestly. Yeah. I think for that kind of outside person. When it comes to your interior offensive line, I think they go with Kyle Fuller and Quinn Bailey, honestly. I think Luke Wattenberg, I know I've been very against him. I think he finally gets his way. He's gotten his way out finally. I think we saw some mistakes from him last week. He led to that tipped field goal. He just, for me, he has not done it. At least that's how I feel. And so for me, I think I have the additional guys being Cam Fleming, Kyle Fuller, Alex Forsyth, Quinn Bailey, and Isaiah Prince. And I think, again, like Cam is saying, you want to keep Alex. I can't pronounce his last name very well. Can you say it well? Pashnitsky. Can't say it.
Shesky.
Okay. He has. Yeah, you hope that he can ride to your practice squad, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, you hope. We forget he was he came with some accolades. So I think there's some physical limitations, but he got some All-American nods at Illinois. So it is a guy that I think, one of those better football player than testers. So I really like him. I hope he sticks around. So I think that is a really good developmental prospect. Yeah. So I think Cam will be on the roster. I think Cam Fleming provides you versatility and has shown to be a capable backup. And then whoever. So you're saying, John, so we're giving this to you. So you got our first 5, and then who are your additional one more time?
We'll go with Cam Fleming, Kyle Fuller. Ooh, now I'm getting a little bit twisted here about my let's just go with Quinn Bailey, actually.
Okay. Instead of Fuller.
I think Quinn Bailey actually can do outside and inside, so I think they keep him over Prince, actually. I'll do that. Do you guys feel the same way? No? Come on. We can say no and agree to different things.
I don't think that they would keep Kyle. I don't know. I don't think they'll keep Kyle Fuller. I wasn't very impressed.
Yeah, I'm not into the Fuller keep either.
Okay, so
not that they won't, but just that's not the direction I would go necessarily.
Yeah.
So then would you guys go with the direction of Alex Forsyth and Bailey Quinn?
Yeah,
I would. He's the
Quinn
draft
Bailey,
pick.
excuse me.
Yeah. And I would kind of roll with that. So I'd roll with Bailey, Fleming, Forsyth. I would also ride with Prince probably, or Palszewski as a developmental guy. I think I always would go heavy. There's always going to be an injury. I think being able to keep guys active, but I'm okay with 8 if that's the way we want to go and we want to start out that way. So we got Fleming, we got Bailey, we got Forsyth. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So we are currently at 18.
Who'd you pick as my computer was dumb and made me go away. Who'd you pick as the backup QB?
They're going to keep all 3.
Oh, okay.
Too much dead money in Stidham.
Okay.
And Danucci, I think they like him enough. And Sean Payton has usually kept 3. And then we have our 4 running backs, Javonte, Pirine, and McLaughlin.
Okay.
And then Michael Burton, the fullback, we're counting him as the running back. So I got those 4. And then we have our 3 specialists. We kept them already. A kicker to be named later.
Yeah.
Probably rhymes with Robbie Gold. And and Riley Dixon, and probably Fabroni, but it could be someone else. So interchangeable. Ideally, we never know who the long snapper is because they snap the ball.
Sure.
So we are at 18 players on our current roster. Let's go to tight ends. So I think we all know and believe Greg Dulcich and Adam Troutman are locks.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Manhertz is a lock.
I'd agree.
I think that those are the 3. I have heard some really good stuff about Atkins. I didn't see a ton when I was out there from him, but I think he's a guy that they like. I assume, that he will be a practice squad guy. And I think that the Albert Okuwegbunam time is over. I think that he will get going. And probably won't stay around either on practice. I think someone else will take a flyer. I think Crosby is a free agent. At least the stuff that I've heard, he would not be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I think that they keep those 3. I do not think they keep any more. However, I'm open for debate, boys.
I think you're pretty on par. I agree that they're going to have Nate Atkins probably be on the practice squad as well.
Yep.
But we got a little bit different, from everyone else. We got a little bit of different takes.
Ooh.
We got
Richie.
Yeah, going with Trotman and Atkins.
Okay.
Over Manhertz. Okay. I mean, that's not out of the question.
Yeah.
I would be surprised a little bit just because I think
if anyone saw the size of Manhertz, he is.
Let me just ask you this:
if they want to run the ball. But they could keep 4. I don't know that they won't. I think that is important. And Atkins is 6'3", 240, 250. So I think he's a guy that that could fill that void. So we'll see.
Yeah. Is that the whole offense? I missed.
We need to move on to wide receivers now.
Oh, okay, good. I didn't miss wide receivers. Cool.
So why don't you go first, Doc? You are the wide receiver guru, I'd say, even though more safety too.
Yeah. So I think those first 3 are a lock. So I think Sutton, Mims, and Judy. I also think Brandon Johnson is on this roster. I think he was the number 3 till he got hurt. So there is 4. Now the big questions occur. I think Callaway is on the roster. I think he's rebounded quite a bit. So there's 5. I think that the 6th spot is open for debate. I think Kendall Hinton. I think the question is, if your 6th guy, is Kendall Hinton going to be in a lot of packages? Are they really going to run that many sets to get him opportunities? Because if not, I think you keep a guy like Jalen Virgil, who's younger, has more physical, impressive traits, right? Speed, etc. So, do you want to be able to utilize that opportunity for a developmental guy, or a little Jordan Humphrey, who is a tight end essentially? And
that's what Cam is saying here. Teams. Yeah, he's basically saying if you don't keep one of those tight ends, maybe you bring in Humphrey and have that kind of be that flexibility for him.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing. I've really liked what Montreal Washington has shown throughout the off season. So I think that there's a chance that he either hangs around in practice squad, an opportunity to come back. I think that he's done quite a bit. So I think those first 5 are a lock. And I think that Virgil is the 6th. That's my guess, but again, open for debate.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've seen a lot of good things from Grimes, but again, I feel like he's going to be kind of relegated to the practice squad. Kendall Hinton, I really thought he was going to kind of earn his keep on some special teams play. I just haven't seen it in the practices I've gone to. I haven't seen him perform well enough to make me want to say, hey, that's my punt returner, the guy I can trust no matter what there. So for me, unfortunately, that means goodbye to him.
Yeah, and we don't need an emergency third quarterback because we already have 3 on the roster. So
Right.
What's up, Clayton? Just want to say hi real quick. What's up? What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Smash that
Please
like
be
button
smashing
and
that like
share.
button. Share, algorithm stuff, like, subscribe,
All that good.
comment,
Good
all the good
feeling
stuff. Help us out. We're trying our best. So right now we are at 27.
Real quick, what if they bring Hamler back, or is it that over? Just real quick.
It is not over.
It's not over for you? I think
if
it's
he gets medically cleared, I think they
opportunity.
would be interested in bringing him back. Whether he would want a fresh start or not, that would be a question.
Yeah.
I
also think, Jalen Virgil, that 6th receiver spot, that's always someone else gets cut. Someone from New Orleans gets cut that that Sean really liked, things like that, or that he's had some time with before. That really is a back end roster spot question. So I'd be really interested to see that late waiver wire action after the first 53 are announced. So
I agree pretty much with Doc. I would probably say Virgil as your 6th over Kendall Hinton. I just think that I don't know the other guys deeper on the depth chart. I don't know that they have a spot. Like, I think they're definitely playing for practice squad time. Why'd they bring in Koski? You think JJ Koski? However you say it. Are they that worried about their return game? I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't know that they're worried. I think again, it's a back end roster spot. I think you get a look at guys. Practice squad probably more likely. Who can we put in stash, which is I think a pretty clever way to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I think there's pressure, right?
Yeah.
Montreal, we're going to keep bringing dudes in. Make these guys concerned about their jobs, and then to do so, I think it really helps the team out.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's get rolling to the defense then. Ready to jump just right into it?
Let's jump right in.
Let's jump right into the defense. D-line, John, you want to kick us off with D-line?
Yeah, I got Zach Allen making this team, DJ Jones. I do have Jonathan Harrison making this squad. Matt Hennessy, I do have making the team as well. I do have Jordan Jackson as well making the team. Man, this is 6 I'm at already. Jeez.
Well, that's only 5. Are you saying Purcell too?
Yeah, I'm saying Purcell as well.
Okay, so 6.
That's pretty high up there. And I really, for me, it's hard with Elijah Garcia and Jordan Jackson, honestly. What are your thoughts there?
I'm not sure Henningsen is a lock.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he's played particularly well. I don't think he's been awful, but I've heard that he hasn't had a fantastic camp. Garcia played well.
Really well.
Really well in the preseason game. I think he probably opened some eyes. I'd say Henningsen's on the bubble for me. I don't know that he will end up not making the team, but I could see a scenario where he gets shoved out by some of these other guys that have just performed a little bit better.
Yeah,
I would agree. I think Henningsen is a guy that probably could land on the practice squad and continue to develop. I think Garcia's size too. I like Henningsen, but I think Elijah Garcia has shown up, right? So 2 sacks last week. He's really been a pretty nice force.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Jackson has a NFL frame, right? So 6'4", 290, looks the part, length, all that kind of stuff. So I'd really like, definitely some more competition there. That would be a group that I bet that they would be scanning the waiver wire a little bit for to make sure that they get that. I would be interested to see.
Man, it feels like we got this defensive line, feels pretty deep, even though that's what was my concern, honestly, going into camp and in this preseason and all that stuff. It actually feels kind of deep now looking at it, personally.
I think it's deep with with okay players. I think that
I think there are a lot of guys that are similar that it's hard to separate between those guys. They're not separating, at least that's what I see.
Yeah, I agree. And Zach Allen's got to play better. He's been great in camp. Saturday was okay. Harris has been good against the run. They really need some players to get pressure. I think whoever, especially out of that second group, is able to show the ability to get to the quarterback more, I think we'll get the nod. They just need more of that, which is interesting because we thought they were going to struggle holding up against the run. I think with Mike back, Harris, Jones, Allen, I think that they'll be okay against the run. So they really need some guys to help out with the pressure.
Yeah.
We got 6, so we're at 33. So we got about 20 spots to work with.
Now,
so let's go to our linebacker group.
Yeah, let's look at our outside guys first. Do you have Baron Brown? Do we count him against it?
We do not yet. So he's going to be on the pup.
Good. He's on the pup.
He's missed the first 6 weeks, so that'll be a problem in week 7.
Yep.
So I think we all know we got Gregory, we got Frank Clark, we got Nick Benito, we got Jonathan Cooper. So there's 4 at least.
I have Aaron Patrick making this team.
Due to special teams.
That just offers too much compared to some of the other guys that are special teamers, where he can actually get in there and play some outside edge for us.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
So let's pause there with the 5.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we get the inside looked at. I think the way that they have it stacked up, I think the Broncos keep 4. I think inside linebackers, especially because Drew Sanders might be able to play some outside. So I think that adds kind of a 6th outside guy.
Yeah.
So that puts us at 42 with 9 spots to go for the secondary. So maybe before we do those, everyone.
Who is?
I think Justin Shanahan makes it. I think for as much.
I'm thinking Seth Benson makes it.
I think Justin Shanahan plays better special teams. I think he's a better pro. I think Seth Benson is a potential back. I think he's the guy that goes on the practice squad and maybe gets pulled up. But because I think that Drew Sanders, I just watched Seth Benson in practice. He's not a fluid guy necessarily. Mm-hmm. I think for those smarts to be able to really kick in, I think he needs some more time to continue to develop his understanding of the pro game. So not that he couldn't come and contribute, but there is a significant athletic drop-off when you go from Singleton and Jewell even to him, which says a lot because, Josie Jewell is not exactly an athletic marvel. For the
it's
NFL,
just a matter of,
by far more athletic.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying personally, Stranaud's been here for a while. Maybe it's time to get someone in there a little bit different. And, again, I think they both can play special teams just as adequately. So for me, it's just up to the coaching staff there.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Let's move on into our corners then. How about that?
Sure.
So we got 9 spots. I think we'd probably even just do the secondary together, right? So
sure, let's do it together.
So we got, I think those first 5 we're good with. Surtain, Stearns, Simmons, Mathis, Williams, no surprise cuts there. So we got 5. So we got 4 roster spots. No, sorry. We have 6 roster math hard. We have 6 roster spots still. So I think that would be good for us to be able to look at. I assume Riley Moss.
Yeah, Moss will be a
round pick. And he's not hurt enough to go on IR. I assume that Kareem will be on the roster.
Do you? Are we sure Kareem's going to be there?
I don't know.
I'm glad I asked because you seem pretty sure. You're like,
yeah, I do.
Be there, and then I asked
for money wise, I don't think he's taken up a lot. So here would be the question. So Laren Turner Yell. I think he's had a good camp. I think he's had a better camp than Skinner.
Yeah,
but he's not Sean's guy.
Right.
And to be honest, I still think he has a long way to go to be a contributor on defense. So I think that they keep 5 safeties. I think they keep Kareem. They keep PJ. They keep Skinner. And then Stearns and Simmons, because Stearns has propensity to get hurt. I think having someone like Kareem who can step in probably in either spot and contribute and at least give you a high floor, I think that would be kind of the way to go.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I will be interested to see how that shakes out because I am not sold on necessarily keeping Kareem around just to keep him around.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Kareem Jackson, I do. But
Doesn't sound like you do. Sounds like you don't like him.
Well, I just wonder if he will be in high demand. If you cut him and you need him later, he might still be there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that people are going to clamor to sign him is all I'm saying.
I don't think that he would make it long. I think that he is there's enough injuries. I think after a couple weeks at max, I think he'd make it. I just don't have a ton of faith in Skinner and Turner Yell to contribute right now. They were both day 3 picks. But I think we can agree that PJ Locke makes it. Yeah. I like PJ. I think he's done a lot, plays good special teams. I think he's shown a bit to be a third. So, and I think JL Skinner makes it. I think his size, and willingness to hit gives you just something different. I mean, he looks all of 6'4" out there, and his arms are vines. That's for sure.
To Graham's point, could you throw him in that inside linebacker area maybe if you were in a pinch?
I think a nickelbacker, yeah. I think you could. I think that's the hope, right? That he can help come and D up, big tight ends, which have been a problem. They are a problem for the entire NFL.
Yeah, totally.
That's a guy that you hope can match up in there. Him and Drew Sanders, if that's where he stays. Those are two both, athletic, tall, long athletes with good speed. So you hope maybe in the future that's your problem solver. So with IR, Browning can start on the PUP because it was hurt before training camp. However, you can't place anyone on IR before the start of the season. If you do, then they're out for the entire season.
Right.
So you have to carry them on your roster, your 53-day, and then do that. So that's kind of what Julian's talking about is can you do a backdoor handshake? You could. Yep. Hey, K-Jack, we'll cut you. We're going to sign you for the same exact deal. The hard part about that is because he's a vested vet, his contract won't be guaranteed after week 1. So I don't know that he'd offer that.
Right.
Could he agree to it? Yeah, because if he gets cut from them, I doubt he gets picked up before the 53s are set for everyone else. So I would approach him for that. I think for sure. I definitely would. I just don't know who I would have in his place. I think Turner Yell could very well be just a practice squad guy. And I don't think tons of teams were clamoring to draft him, let alone pick him up now after a subpar first year.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I can see that. What's our count at?
So we got 5 more spots because we haven't decided on. So we left at Riley Moss. So now we're at 48. I think we're agreeing that PJ Locke and Skinner are on the roster. Yay, nay?
I think so. Yeah, I think PJ for special teams at the very least, and he played pretty well at times last year. So
I like him. I think he's a ascending player. So we have 3 roster spots left with no other backup corners other than Jason Sehorn. So
you got to go with Jaquan.
I think Jaquan and Asang Bassi make it. I think Asang Bassi has shown a ton. His ability to play in the slot, I think, really adds to his value.
Yeah.
So now we got 1. We have 1 spot left. We did not commit to Kareem Jackson per JT's request.
We could. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying.
No, I agree.
We have 1 roster spot, and I'm going to give it to JT to use.
Oh, man.
Who have we left out? Offense, defense.
Well, let's give it to the chat too. Throw out who you think's going to make it.
Who is our last? Who's Mr. Irrelevant?
Yeah, it's Mr. Irrelevant, exactly. I don't know. It's tough, It's tough. I mean, chat didn't like that I said Henningson's a bubble guy for me. So maybe Henningson ends up there. We end up with an extra.
He made a great play the other day, by the way, Cameron.
Yeah. I think Delarian Turner-Yell is interesting. And Graham mentioned maybe you play him elsewhere just to give him some chance to get some reps. Faion Hicks is someone that I could see sticking around potentially. Who do we think from this defensive group?
Well, I can tell you this, someone who I don't believe in is Traymon Smith as a corner, honestly. I think
that's still a weird signing.
That's just one.
He was never a defender, and the fact that they didn't use him as such it's odd.
Yeah, and I don't see him coming out and being that special teams ace really right now. So, I'd like it to be Hicks. I think he has the potential, but man, this is a hard one, and I kind of want to go with Yordi here, and I would take Bryce Callahan again. I liked him, so I mean I know he's taking a visit with the Dolphins, but hey, I'd take him in here.
Sure. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think he'll go with Vic if he's
that's where he's probably. That's probably why he's going.
Yeah.
And again, this last roster spot probably will get to someone. I agree with Orange Crush, our guy. I still think K-Jack I think he offers a ton in the locker room, etc. So I would go that, but I do think I do like Jolene's, her idea. I like Moreau. I think, but I do think seeing if one of those vets, maybe if it's Jordan Jackson, maybe Elijah Garcia, maybe it's one of those guys. Hey, we're going to sign you back on that Monday. Stay in town. We're bringing you back. We need to cut you so that we can put Riley Moss on the short-term IR. I think that would be phenomenal. Then I think leaving a guy like Fan Hicks on so that you still have your 6 corners would be smart. So, or Moreau, I think he's a better player. So it depends on, to be developing someone. I think Fan Hicks probably would make it to the practice squad again. And I don't think people are clamoring for his developmental skills yet. So I think that there's some options there. And especially with the shuttle rules, you can have guys on the practice squad play. So I think there's added incentive to stick around, especially if you think you might get some PT. So I vote Kareem. Any arguments against?
Now let's do it.
Sure. Right. It makes the most sense. The only thing I could think is like with the receivers that we named, who's a returner, but I guess it would be Mims at that point.
Right.
It's not.
Well, I think, I think Mims is your returner. I think McLaughlin could probably be your kick returner.
Yeah.
Callaway has been a returner. If Riley Moss is on the roster, he has been a punt returner in college. I think that you have options. I think it's just not as dynamic.
Right.
But there may be Montreal Washington goes on the practice squad. You shuttle him up. He has a couple good games. You cut someone. There's a lot of movement there. Totally. That would be my last worry.
Chances are, I mean, there's a chance that person's not even on this roster also. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously we're working with the information that we have.
Yeah. There will be at least a couple guys that end up on this team that weren't on it after the 53 gets. So, there will be some O-line. Anyone that gets cut from New Orleans, I would keep an eye on.
That's a good rule.
Especially O-line, receiver, areas of need. I mean, just saw it with the running back that they picked up, right? People that understand can come in, know the system. Less transition time, I think, are going to be a priority, especially that late in the game.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. We do have PS2 as an emergency returner per coach. So, I mean, hey, that's
have to be a significant emergency.
That's got to be.
Well, I mean, that means we're down.
Yep, that's true. That's true. We are.
So, I mean, it's good to have that, that kind of emergency thought in the back of your mind.
Yep. So it's good to know.
What position we playing if you get signed? Cam says sign us.
So my position would be to support the offensive linemen in a sense where they get to hit me so hard that they'll feel great about what they can do. So I am essentially a tackling dummy for them to just hit. So I'm giving it my all for this team, and I will sacrifice. I will sacrifice because they need to hear a person, kind of sound like the thud and get the feeling of really hurting someone.
Nice. I like it. I'm the Malik Cunningham, like I could play quarterback, feel pretty good about it, but I probably need the rock,
Yeah.
I was actually a much better DB, but I don't have the hips aren't great. So my change of direction, it's not as fluid. I mean, it's not bad. Like I can give you a play and then I got to go out for a little bit and then I can come back in. I can give you a play. So maybe special teams.
I can give you one play per series. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. By the time I have to walk, but running off the field is too much. I can't run back on afterwards. I mean, if I'm on, I gotta either stay on or I'm.
Are you allowed to have like icy hot packs like on?
Yeah. I just already have.
They give me that good like what is it, Turtle? Whatever, like the shots that are. Great. Yeah, you give me one of those up. Oh, if I felt like 20, throw my body on the ground.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
JT's a fantastic tight end. He just box out.
You're the tight end. Yeah.
I think
in flag football, that's all it was goal line package. JT run up 5 yards, box people out.
I think at this point in my life, I might just be a body on the D line. I just might be someone that you throw in the middle
run
of the line.
stuffer.
Yeah, just to make
Occupy blockers.
You're just gonna go kind of fall
JT
and hope
Mustafer.
that you take a few lines with you.
That's right,
JT Mustafer.
All right. Well, thank you guys for showing up today, and sorry for the technical difficulties right in the middle. John, thanks for taking up the mantle and
no worries
and pulling us through that last segment. But we appreciate everyone for sticking with us today. We had a lot of fun, so thank you. Make sure that you follow us on socials. Shoot us some DMs, talk about beer. We'll talk about football, whatever you want to talk about. We are into engaging with you guys, and we appreciate you as always. Thanks for showing up in the chat and pushing some of your feelings and thoughts. And we always like bringing those up.
Thank you so much for coming on, Raul.
Raul, thank you.
Yeah, hey, shout out for that. Go grab it again. Revolver Brewing.
Yeah.
This was it.
This was a good one. I really do have to. Oh, you're done. Yeah.
I got a little tiny bit left, but I mean, I've been working on this one, and they don't always get that. But yeah, thank you, everyone. Be kind to one another. Be safe out there, and go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave.